Hello, everybody.
Good morning and happy Wednesday to you. This is Rural Community Solutions, where we design family-friendly, youth-centered places that thrive. I'm Kim Spillers.
And I'm Frank Spillers, and we create those environments that attract people. And today on our show, we're going to be talking international remote work sites. And as we have been talking about on this show for a long, long time this year, specifically with COVID, is people are finding their place to live and then bringing their job with them. And so how do you create your environment? How do you create your community that attracts people? We're going to be talking about digital nomads, remote workers, and what attracts a remote worker. So stay with us and we will be right with you.
Picture, if you will, the pure, raw prairie. No wires, no fences, no roads, not even a farmhouse, no sign of civilization. This is what a person saw that was crossing the prairie in a wagon more than 170 years ago. They jumped off the wagon, looked around, and declared, "This is where I want to settle and build a town. A great place to live and a great place to raise my family." So they took a risk. They built a house made out of the land, planted food to eat, and cared for the land. Then they wrote back to their friends where they came from and described the great opportunity and promise that they have found. They invited who they knew to join them in their discovery, people they had a relationship with, and so they came, family by family, and those families invited others they knew who they wanted to live with within that community. The communities grew because the needs of the families grew, so entrepreneurs started businesses to meet those community needs. Ice houses, broom factories, general stores, and many other types of sole proprietor entrepreneurial businesses started up within the community. All of our communities across this country, all around the world, were started in this way, with a vision of the future and a plan to grow with people.
Oh, yeah, we're muted.
Thanks, Gonçalo.
All right. Oh, shoot.
It's okay.
In our opening, we're talking about, maybe 150, 200 years of history of how our communities are created. But we want to welcome our guest of Gonçalo Hall, who is over in Portugal right now, where their communities were created thousands of years ago. So it's
yes.
A little bit of different culture. So welcome, Gonçalo. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, Frank and Kim. And you look beautiful today. So I'm very excited for our conversation.
You look fabulous. We are just so excited to have you as our first international guest on the show. For those of you who are new to Gonçalo, which is probably a lot of you, we want to just share a little bit about what he's done. Gonçalo and I connected on LinkedIn more than a year ago, I think. And I have just been fascinated because Rural Community Solutions has promoted work from home, work from anywhere, remote work for at least 10 years now. To be able to connect with someone who actually chose to travel the world and work from anywhere. Whenever we'd connect on LinkedIn, oh yeah, I'm in Bali. Oh, I'm in Thailand. It's like he was everywhere. It's like, oh my goodness, I just want to know more about that. So today we're going to find out about his most recent adventure, his most recent entrepreneurial spirit-led endeavor, remote Madeira in Portugal. So welcome, and why don't you just go ahead and run with that, because you can tell us so much and we can learn from you. What's remote Madeira?
So Madeira is this beautiful island in the Atlantic in the coast of Morocco, part of Portugal, with more than 600 years of history here. And well, just a beautiful place. You can see by my background, it's very, very green and warm temperature, around 18 degrees Celsius in the winter. So you can actually walk with a t-shirt. Right now it's 5:30 p.m. here, so it asks for a little bit more. But after this call, I'm actually going for a swim, so it's not that bad. And I'm a digital nomad, as you mentioned, and I travel all around the world, Bali, Thailand, etc. And when I visit Madeira for the second time, I fell in love with it. This place is beautiful. You have the warm ocean, you have the forest, you have the hiking. The food is amazing. We're sharing that a very good bottle of wine is around $5 here, and I think big advantage of being part of Portugal. So I actually pitched the president and the government that we should create something special here. We should put Madeira on the map of remote workers and digital nomads. And so we create the Digital Nomads Madeira project. And right now we have more than 5,000 registered people for these 5 months. This is just a pilot project. It went completely insane. So we were covered by CNN, Washington Post, everyone that you can think of. We were there somehow. And I can tell you the budget, it was like so low that will shame a lot of marketeers around the globe, because we had it was just a pilot project, It's just like, okay, let's try this out. Let's believe if we do something special, if we focus on creating the community, that something good will come out of it. And this is just what we did. We created a community in a village in Madeira called Ponta do Sol. It's just a very small village with 5,000 people. Very old, beautiful church, the center of culture in Madeira. Beautiful old cinema from 1933. I can see it from here. And well, now it's just people are coming. We have already more than 100 people around here, more than 400 around Madeira, that decided to join us and work remotely from these beautiful islands.
Well, so that's just amazing. All right. So there's about 5,000 people who live there year round. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
And so right now you have about 100 people who want to come and live there indefinitely. Is there a time frame? Is it like a timeshare? How does this all work?
Great question. So we don't own any real estate around here. We are using the houses that were previously on Airbnb, hotels that are pretty much empty right now. So everybody's trying to partner with us. But one cool thing is in the time where all the hotels are empty, everyone in the 10 kilometers radius from us is completely full, because we just brought way too many people. So basically, we have a free co-working space that the government paid for in the center of the village, in the cultural center, and we just take over. We offer free co-working space to everyone staying, and these guys are digital nomads. So most of them came for 1-2 months at a time, and out of the 5,000 people, around 300 are already in the island, 300-400 already in the island, but still a lot of people want to come. But of course, we are in the middle of the global pandemic. We have more than 1,000 people from the US alone. So you guys are very well represented, but also from UK now with the Brexit, they cannot travel here. So we have more than 600 people from the UK. So this is almost a slow start, although the village with the 100 nomads went from being almost desert during the day because everybody goes to the big city to work, to being completely full of life. And I was showing you guys at my right, there is a yoga class happening right now. I am speaking with you. There is people doing CrossFit on the beach as we speak. Sunset is in 1 hour and a half. We go for a swim after these guys finish the yoga and the CrossFit class. And it's just with a big difference of doing this in a more rural area in a village is that people meet each other. So people are coming from the big city, Funchal. They decided to stay there because more facilities, easier to find a house. We took over, and they are moving here because every time they visit us, they understand the community, and the community is the key of everything. It looks like in a village. The village was actually built for community. The way the village is built in Europe specifically is that you have a church, a big plaza, and then things start to happen around, and the houses start to be built around. So in here, we meet each other on the street every single day. You will never lunch alone here in this community. It's just impossible. You will never drink a coffee alone. You will never go to the beach alone. You will never go to hike alone, because there is always someone that will want to go with you. So, well, this is our stand. We created this beautiful community, 1 month in, 4 months to go. And I think it changed a lot, and it will change how people will see and try to attract remote workers in the future as well.
So let me talk about that environment just a little bit, because the people make the environment. Was Madeira is that a cultural thing, or did you have to kind of train the people, the locals there, train the people to accept new people and to embrace new people coming in?
So Madeira has a lot of tourism. It always had, because but most of the tourism is actually centralized in Funchal, the capital city. So I would say 90% of the hotels are actually in the big city in Funchal. So what they were promoting for the last time was only hotels in Funchal. What they were forgetting about was all the places outside Funchal, like Ponta do Sol, where I am right now. And they were not promoting Ponta do Sol. They were not promoting the villages around here that are seaside, crazy, beautiful. And they were forgetting about that. So we do have to teach the locals, but much more about this specific market, meaning we don't pay tourist prices. We don't pay local prices. We pay 40% above the long-term rent, for example. So if your rent is 1,000, we pay 1.3 or 1.4, and we are okay with that because we only stay for 2, 3, 4 months. For example, 25% of the nomads are also vegetarians, so we have to educate the restaurants that never did a single vegetarian dish to now they have to offer this, or else we will not going there, because if I organize a lunch with 40 people, 25% want to eat vegetarian. So now they are cooking vegetarian and they have a dish of the day, vegetarian, every single day. There's a lot of education involved, but we prepared these 2 months before people arrived. So we talked with the locals, talked with newspapers, got the apartments, renegotiated everything that you can imagine that was ready for tourism, and negotiated the prices for long-term or medium-term in this case. So a lot of education for sure, but on the other side, everyone speaks English because there is already a tourism background around the island.
I want to just make sure that I heard you correctly. Is part of this program, when you move there for a month or two, your housing is paid for? Did I hear that correctly?
No. The co-working space is paid for. So we have a free co-working space that is a center of...
Man, I'm getting on the next plane.
No, we offer you all the advice we can. There is a Slack group where the community can ask any question regarding visas or anything else. The co-working space is free, paid by the government. You only have to pay for the trip and your housing.
Okay,
so
and your food, of course.
Yeah.
And your food and the wine.
So really, I mean, becoming a remote work community is more than just creating a co-working space. I mean, there's a whole bunch of work you're doing with the community that you're actually educating the community on what a co-worker is and what their needs are, and then creating that environment to where the co-worker is attracted to that environment, but also they have the co-working space. I mean, it's not the co-working space that's attracting the people. It's really the community and the environment that's attracting it.
Yeah, that chicken and the egg kind of a thing. Would you speak to that? Because that really is a big deal for people. We're big on helping this happen in rural America. So how we can learn from you to emulate this is really helpful to us.
I love it. So what we did here is, first, I am a private. I am just an entrepreneur who decided to present a project to the government. And I think it's very important to have both on your side to make it happen with quality. Just a private, it's possible, but it takes 5 times more time. Just the public, it's possible, but usually they are very good on the ideas, but they are very bad at the implementation because things get lost. There is elections, everything changes every 4 years or 5 years. So usually nothing gets done, to be honest. The magic here, in my opinion, was first the private, myself, an entrepreneur, came with this idea, and the public said, okay, we will pay you and we'll open all the doors we can. So for me, this is the big first step. And then definitely understand what do remote workers or digital nomads want. We are looking for a community, and we are looking for activities we can do around. And also we are looking for like-minded people. This is very important. So for the community, we have to basically have something good for offering. What we have here, if you move here, you are close to the ocean, you are close to the mountains, you can hike every day. The temperature is very nice the whole year round. And you can just come here. The internet is super fast, so it's easy to come here and work with quality. Because you are coming here, more people are coming here as well. We are in the village setup, so it's a community. We want to build a community. If you want to come for a party, this is not the place for you. We want you to come here and build a community with us. So, of course, the co-working space, because we offer it for free, became the epicenter of all the activity. And to be honest, I don't know, I'm not sure about US, but here we have a lot of libraries. We have a lot of primary schools that are empty, a lot of empty buildings.
Oh.
And we can just use it because they are public buildings, and here are the bells. And we can just use it. So basically we use the buildings that were already here. We haven't built anything. And we created this free co-working space that also became the place where most of the events happen. when you attract people, you need to create a community. And to create a community, you have to organize events, small things like community lunches, like skill shares, like yoga classes, like it's happening right now in front of me. All these are the things that will make people getting together and connect. And this is where most places are doing it wrong, to be honest. Most people are able even to attract remote workers, but then there is no community. Madeira had remote workers before, they were feeling lonely. So definitely create a co-working space for free or paid. But I say most of the governments are open to it. You need to have a community leader. If it's you that you are inspired to build this community in your village, in your rural area, there is no community without a community leader. Things don't just happen. They need to have someone leading them. So you need to lead the events. You need to speak with the locals. You need to speak with the local businesses. You need to even create connections between the remote workers and the local businesses, so then they can feel integrated. This is the job of a community leader. It can be a full-time job. Usually you can have your own remote job and be a community leader. You don't have to dedicate yourself to this. Or you can open a co-working space, become a community leader, and then work on all that. And then it's just about attracting people, which is the easiest part, to be honest. If you have a good offer, if you know what you can do around, if there is activities, if there is, I don't know, hiking or horse riding, there is something that will attract people. There is life. People will come. And of course, here we have a lot of attractions. But for example, this can be connected with anything, with surf, with hiking, with cycling, anything. If you have a good way of attracting people, people like to be active. People like to do sports together, and just keep building, keep trying things. And sometimes you fail, sometimes you win, and that's part of the growth of entrepreneur in a new project like this.
I'm really curious. Well, I have two questions. So first, could you speak to the very base when you say you started? This was your baby. You are the leader of this. Who did you talk to at Madeira to start with? I know you're up to the presidential level, but I bet you didn't start there.
Yes.
So, who did you talk to? And then I'd also like to know what kind of age group is in this digital nomad group, please.
So I spoke actually directly with the Secretary of Economy. So it's a number 2 of the government. And I didn't sell this as a tourism project, which for me, it's not. I sold it as an economic impact project. So by attracting these people, we can have a very big positive economic impact, a very big positive social impact, because these guys are experts in what they do. They travel and they come here and they can connect and mingle with the locals, and everybody can win. So it was Secretary of Economy, and in the next day, after I spoke with him, I was organizing a conference here. I met him. I said, "Man, you are wasting the opportunity of a lifetime." I said, "What was my idea for Madeira? How they can do it? How we can implement it?" And he just said, "You have to speak with the president." The next day, I was in the palace speaking with the president.
Okay.
On my shorts. I don't wear suits or anything like that. So everybody with a suit, I with my shorts, like a t-shirt, speaking with the president about the project of changing Madeira forever. And well, it worked out. They believed in this crazy half hippie guy. And the second question was, sorry.
The age group. Who's a digital nomad these days? I mean, could it be us?
It's definitely, yes. You can come and you can be like a digital nomad is just a remote worker who travels. It's as simple as that. It's not as fancy as people think. It's not as crazy as people think. It's just a remote worker that uses that ability to work remotely to travel. This is a digital nomad, the fancy term. And age group around here, we have from 25 years old until 67.
Okay.
Like I would say the average right now, because we have a lot of Europeans, it changed a little bit because a lot of people now working remotely. The average will be 33, more or less.
Okay, so people come for 1 or 2 months at a time. Is then all of a sudden, okay, you got a 2-month chunk, you're out of here. We want to flip, every 2 months so that we get new experiences for people. How does that part of it work? So the goal is not to populate Madeira with lifelong residents, or is it? How is that all figuring in?
I think to address that question, we have to go to the base of digital nomadism. So most people, I would say 90% of digital nomads are not digital nomads forever. There is different phases of digital nomadism. The first one, that was what I did in the first 2 years, is you spend 1, 2, 3 months in each place and you keep moving. The second one is you acknowledge the places that makes you the happier and you start to go more time to those places. So imagine if I love Madeira, I'll stay here for 6 months and then travel a world in the other 6 months. But then I have a wife, I want to have kids. And then you start thinking, okay, where do I want to live? Where I can run my business from with good internet, with a community that I can ping and I can be happy. And then you start to look into these places where you are the happier as a nomad, and you start to balance it out and see, would I like to live in Madeira forever? Would I like to even settle my business here, maybe hire the locals? So this third phase can be as fast as 3 years from the phase one where you just want to travel to the last phase. I would say medium term, what will happen to a lot of people, and I see this happening in several places before. People come to Madeira, they will come for a month. Nobody left Madeira. We are 1 month and a half in the project. Nobody wants to leave. Everybody extended the stay so far. So we may have a problem in the future, or we just grow outside the village. And well, we do. I am sure some people will stay forever, or some people will build a base here, because people are in love with it. They are not the first ones. We have expats here from Amazon, from Nike. Actually, the head of acceleration of Nike is living 10 minutes from here, and she moved here with a family, which actually one of the founders of Erasmus program in Europe. And now they're working with the University of Madeira. She moved here 3-4 months ago. So this was already happening, but now they have this community where they can ping in and meet interesting people. So what's missing? And this is the first stage of the project. The second stage will be definitely, okay, if you want to live here, we have these taxes that you can have less if you move to Portugal. You can do this, and this. If you want to move to Madeira, you can run your company, you can base your company in Madeira. You have also tax exemptions if you move your company here. So that's the second step. Help people that want to move here, that fell in love with Madeira, to move here. And not only that, and the challenge here is the biggest one, which is make them part of the society. Well, the issue with expats here specifically is that they are in their own houses. They don't go out for the society. But we don't want them just to pay taxes here. That's not the goal. I want them to mingle with the nomads. I want them to imagine having the head of accelerator of Nike suddenly speaking with the small startups around the island that want to tap into the sports arena. This is the value. It's not the tax money. It's nice. The value is much more in the knowledge sharing. So I hope that with more nomads here, with more expats, with more people actually want to live here full time, and we see this happening already. And with that, of course, we want to create this really fun, interesting environment where you come even to learn, even because of the expats, this beautiful mix of nomads, expats, and locals. And if you can make this is the golden goose for all the projects, to be honest.
That's really amazing, because I mean,
yeah.
it's like the digital nomad is test driving towns they want to live in, and then when they find the town they want to live in, then it's up to the town and the process to engage them into the whole community, and then tap their expertise to help the nomads that are testing the town, almost like recruiting. I mean, it is a growth strategy for your community. Yeah. It's intentional on that.
Yes. And there's a secret behind this, which is you have to understand why digital nomads travel. What are they looking for? And the number one thing people are looking for is communities. So I do travel between places, from Bali, Canggu, to Chiang Mai, to Kuala Lumpur. But in reality, I'm traveling between communities. I want to go to Canggu, understanding the community of Canggu. I want to go to Chiang Mai, understanding the community of Chiang Mai, to Las Palmas in the Canary Islands, to Spain, to Hungary, to understand which community suits me the better. So it's not about the place, how beautiful it is. It helps. It's much more about what this community has to offer me. How do I feel inside this community? Who is around me? What can I learn from? Is it interesting? So it's not even about how beautiful is the place. And this is the biggest misconception about digital nomads, is that we only travel to paradises. No, we travel to communities. It just happens that a lot of communities are in beautiful paradises.
That is really okay. That's really fascinating for what we do.
Yeah.
What I want to loop back, if I can, to how easily convicted were the locals about this idea? Was it a really tough sell for them, even though they had a tourism background? What did they think of this, and how well do they accept people so that they feel like the digital nomads feel like they're in a community where they belong?
So it took 2 months of preparation, and this is another big mistake most places do, is that people come first and they warn them, hey, there's these people coming. So we did prepare. We went to the local news. We went to I went personally to every single business when I arrived and saying, hello, I'm Gonçalo. I'm managing this project here. This and this will happen. This is how you can adapt and make money from it. So there was this preparation. So to be honest, all the local businesses are loving us forever, because even in the situation we appeared, it's like it was perfect for them, of course. But even the locals are starting to have fun, because the roads were desert before, and now, as a local here from Centro Cultural told me, there is life in the village. It's like the issue with the village, they were deserted, and suddenly there is life, there is things happening. You look around and people are busy, people are having fun, people are drinking beer, people are going to the beach to work from there. There is life, and this is a big change. So even the people that are always against the government, always the bad sayers of everything, even those are like, there is life. So we haven't found nobody against the project, even like we are doing this in very dangerous and weird times, of course. But the truth is, even the people that were against, like, people shouldn't travel right now, this is dangerous, etc., they understand that these people are not coming here to travel. They actually stay around for some months, and it's as dangerous as someone from the continent, from Portugal, came here and visit us. It's less dangerous than tourism, even from Portugal, because people travel and they visit places. We are kind of in the bubble in the village. We meet each other every day in the cafes everywhere. So the public perception is quite good so far. And of course, it make a ruckus, and it make even a bigger ruckus, because we are doing this during COVID, where all the other strategies in the world have failed, where even the strategies to attract digital nomads from different countries have failed. We were very successful with We Make a Ruckus, and we created a community in the middle of the chaos of COVID.
So okay, so you've traveled to Bali, you've been Thailand, Hungary. I mean, you've traveled to those places. Why Madeira?
It has the perfect intersection of ocean, nature, and things to do. It's just that, like, 2 minutes away from the co-working space where I'm walking next, I have the ocean, and I can swim every single day in the ocean. And here's the south of Madeira, so it's beautiful, amazing sunset. On the other side, if I walk up the mountain, in 5 minutes, I'm in the middle of the most luxurious nature that you'll see, a little bit like Hawaii, for example. They call this the Hawaii of Europe for a reason. So just 5 minutes away, you are in the middle of exuberant nature. This is special. You can't do this ever. You can't leave your co-working space in a small, beautiful village and go hike in the middle of the nature in 5 minutes. This is not normal. It's not normal that at the same time, you can just leave the co-working space and go swim in 2 minutes. It's not normal that you have coffee for 65 cents in the door of the co-working space. It's not normal that a full meal with a glass of wine is less than $10. So all this together, all this combined, made, for me, in my opinion, Madeira a hotspot for the remote workers, and the place where a lot of people will want to move, to be honest. So they just didn't discover yet. But as soon as people start to discover this place, I'm afraid that we'll have the opposite problem, which is too many people wanting to move in.
And that could be a problem for the locals. Is how big is too big, and intentional. When are they going to say, okay, enough's enough? We've got all we want, and have they had that conversation yet?
No, way too soon. Like, even if, like, Madeira has 250,000 people, and I would say it will be good.
Island.
Sorry?
The entire island has 250,000 people.
Yes.
Madeira is 5,000.
No, Ponta do Sol, the village, is 5,000.
Okay. Ponta do Sol.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's Madeira, the whole island, and Ponta do Sol is just a small village inside Madeira. And to be honest, Madeira needs 30,000 people. But the issue with Madeira is they were attracting more elderly tourists and people that want to go to the resorts and rest, which is okay, but it doesn't contribute much to the society. Right. So I think we may have this conversation in the future, but I think Madeira really needs extra 300 to 30,000 people, interesting people that are working, that can contribute to society. There is space for these 30,000 people to come, and then we can have a very good environment around startups, around communities, different communities in different places. So I think we are really far of a point where we'll say, whoa, this is too much. I think some other countries reach that point and you can learn from them. Malta is a good example. Malta is very attractive for several companies. They had to build everything. They kind of ruined the village. In here, we are very careful. And around 75% of the whole island is protected area where you cannot build. So it's forest. And it's impossible to build there. So this will also help to build a good balance between the nature and not ruin the highland and make sure that the green part is still the essential part of Madeira, and there is a big reason for people to stay here.
Wow,
Okay.
we could go on and on about this.
Are you tracking then as far as your research? Have you tracked during the tourism industry how many people were tourists that decided to stay, and then this process of attracting the digital nomad? Are you tracking how many of those digital nomads convert to be from a digital nomad to a remote worker in your community? Are you tracking?
It's way too soon. We are 1.5 months in the project, so it's way too soon. We are tracking the economic impact in the local businesses. It's still way too soon to tell you exactly numbers, but we are tracking their numbers from January to February and to March, which we arrived here in February. In the beginning of February, the project started, and we want to see the difference between pre-Digital Nomad Village and after Digital Nomad Village. About people staying, it will take years and years. So I'd say it's something we can measure in 3 years, maybe, but it will take a long time. But there is different places like Bansko in Bulgaria. They started with a private only and doing a co-working space, and now I met several people staying there full time and buying houses there. And I mean, like, dozens and dozens of people. Batsko is a village in the mountains of Bulgaria. So they attracted now dozens of people that are paying taxes in Bulgaria, maybe hundreds that are paying taxes in Bulgaria, buying real estate in Bansko, just a village in the mountains. And it's working real well for them. We want to do that, but even being smarter with them, because they are private only. It's just a private entity that decided to build co-working and co-living. I believe that we made this as fast as we did in 3 months, because we have the public, and the public sector is very important, to be honest. And the public working with the private sector, that's the key.
Oh, okay.
What economic impact have you seen anything yet? Are the shopkeepers, the local businesses, you said that they are just loving you forever, so they must be seeing more money in their pockets. Is that right?
Yes. So when I arrived here, most restaurants were empty, and like today, we did the lunch with 30 people in the business here. That is pretty. They have like 5-10 people a day right now, maybe, and suddenly there is 30 people at the same time just eating there. It's live again, and we do this every week. So we have a community lunch per week. Every week we select the restaurants, and we just fill the restaurant with people, money, and everything we can do. And not just that, but even the bars, the grocery shops, everyone around, even the golf, like not the golf, but the tennis courts, like it was empty now. There's people playing tennis every single day. They have a good cafe here, thanks God, and the cafe is full. The owner of the cafe was saying to me last week, this is insane. I came to the cafe like 4 PM, where usually it's empty. I came inside and there was only foreign people. Nobody was speaking Portuguese, and the only person I knew from these people were you. Like nobody else. And it's just the digital community. We go, we have coffee, we love cake, we love good food. If you have a good offer, we'll just go there and spend our money there. And these guys, like, they understand the goal of the project. They understand the difference between being in a big 5-star hotel and being in a village with the community. They are, because we are very vocal about it, where should you spend your money? They know that it's 10 times better to spend their money here in the local shop than to spend their money in the big 5-star hotel. It can be more beautiful in the 5-star hotel. It's not, but it could be the big pools, the infinity pools. Wow! But to be honest, like if you spend €5 here, it's a local business. If you spend €5 in a hotel, it will go to a bank somewhere in Switzerland, and this is a big difference.
It is a big difference. So if people are really interested in looking into this, I guess the hard nuts and bolts of, if I have a remote business, if I have an internet-based business, what kind of service would I look at in Madeira that I would be able to access?
Service like co-working or?
No, about the literal internet connection. Here, so what's that like for people who need gig service? Is that available?
Oh, yes. We have, well, in the co-working space, everything is free. We have 500 megabytes installed, and then we have SIM cards, and internet is really fast here. We have 1 gigabyte is common to have here in Madeira. for businesses. So even in the local cafe, I have like 300 megabytes down and up. On my phone, I have
300? Did you say 300?
megabytes. Yeah, that's normal. That's normal here. So yeah, internet is quite fast, to be honest. And on your cell phone, pretty much anywhere in the island, we have 4G. They will install 5G next year, and I can do a call from my phone, Zoom call. I could be doing this through my phone, and it's like 50, 60 megabytes down and up. So it will be quite easy for me even to do video calls, Zoom calls, conferences. With something goes wrong, and sometimes things go wrong, of course, it's very easy to just connect with my 4G and keep going without you even feeling that I moved from fiber to my 4G.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
that collaborative effort. That's amazing. So if people want to know more about what you're doing, how do they find you? How do they contact you? How do they find out what you know?
So I share a lot. I'm very vocal on my LinkedIn. This is the place where I share the most. I post, I don't say every day, but every other day about remote work, digital nomadism, local impact. I think that's how you guys found me as well. So this is my platform, the platform where you can learn more from, at least from the little things I have to share. And then if you want to learn more about Madeira and our project, it's just digital nomads at .startupmadeira.eu. So digitalnomads.startupmadeira.eu. You can see everything there. You can see Pôr do Sol, you can see some houses, you can see the prices, and the most important thing, you can register. And everything is free. Again, like you can register for free. There is no cost added. You can come to work with a co-working space. We just need you to register. Like yoga is €5, let's say $6, less than $6 to the yoga class, which they just finished. Like we do a lot of things every single weekend. This weekend we are going to dive. And what you'll find here, once you travel here, you'll just find a village that is beautiful, but most important, to be honest, you'll find a community. We have like 4 or 5 events a day. You can just tap and join the events and learn from others. We have people from the biggest companies to the small startups, to employees from big companies, employees from small companies. It's just a community. So if that's what you're looking for, a community in the beautiful island at the Atlantic, just come, register. We'll send you all the information. You'll join the Slack channel. If it's not, that's completely okay. It's not for everyone. And yeah, just find your happy place. And I hope this can also be an example for several other places around the world.
Yeah. A month ago, if you would have been talking to me, I'd look outside and there's 10 inches of snow on the ground and it's 10 degrees below zero. Here and Fahrenheit, and that, and I'm thinking and dreaming of an island.
To be honest, a lot of people like you guys will just run away from winter and will come to Madeira and other places to run away from winter. Like if you don't like winter, first, that's okay. Just go spend the winter in the island, be part of a community, and enjoy when spring is back, then you go back home. You'll see Europe just moving away to the Canary Islands, to Madeira. You see the US doing the same, probably around there as well. And this will be the new normal. And it could be worse. Now we can do it. Before we couldn't. Now we don't have to go to the traffic jam in the middle of the snow. We can just go out, go for a swim in the ocean and start working, which is a little bit better.
Yeah, and just take it with you. That's right.
Yeah. Oh gosh, Gonçalo, I could really go on and on about this, but we're between you and a swim in the Atlantic. So we're going to honor that we're a few minutes over what we told you and allow you to head for a swim. So if you'll just stay with us for just a couple minutes back in that little space. We'll be right with you as we close out. Thank you so much, Gonçalo. We so appreciate it.
All right, guys, this is it. You might not have an ocean or mountains, but you do have a community that wants to welcome people. And this is the transition that we have been talking about for months now, the transition in our communities. Specifically, this is how we can revitalize rural America, is because of community. It doesn't have to take a huge infrastructure change to build the infrastructure, to build a big building, to get those jobs. It takes a environmental change. It takes a mindset change in your community about what economic development is. And it's all about the people. It's all about building that environment with people. And so if you're interested in that, let us know, because we'd be more than happy to help your community to do a transition into where you are to where you need to be and where you want to be as you're attracting a remote workforce. that anybody can work from any place.
Yeah, for more than 100 years, we have been a place-based traditional economy. That's not the case anymore. And so this is a wonderful, marvelous, exciting opportunity for how to move from that place-based to people who are going to be more open to new experiences, and they're going to look for different things. We'd love to have that conversation with you. So get a hold of us at kim@ghorizons.com or frank@ghorizons.com. Leave us a comment here on either the podcast or on the video, and we'll get in touch with you. But we would love to help you have a conversation about how you might be able to transition your community into new life in new ways.
So we're here every day at 11:30 a.m. Central Time here on the YouTube channel at Rural Community Solutions TV live stream, our Facebook page at Rural Community Solutions, or go to our podcast on anchor.fm/Frank Spillers, and that is Think Like an Entrepreneur and Become a Spark Plug. And so thank you to our guest. We really appreciate the information from Gonçalo Hall, who is an entrepreneur extraordinaire and a remote work consultant. So come back tomorrow and we will continue the conversation about building entrepreneurship in your community. You have a great day now. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care and make healthy choices.